Welcome, everybody. Laura Sports Rhetoric. This is Daimon.
I'm Nathan.
We are here with another one of our off-season chats. Today we're going to do the Miami Dolphins, and then we'll continue to finish up the American East. Did I say that right? Yeah.
AFC East.
AFC East. Yeah. American, AFC, whatever. Same thing. So we'll finish those up for the rest of this week. But today we're going to dive into the Dolphins and talk about what we think about where things stand with that team, and this could be an interesting video. You might want to stay tuned.
2021 Miami Dolphins finished 9-8. They were third in the AFC East. They did not make the playoffs. They were 24th ranked in yards offensively, 22nd in points offensively, 15th in yards allowed, and 16th in points allowed. Would have honestly thought that their defense would have been a little better than that.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? So you got a defensive coach. You got a question mark at quarterback, and somewhat tough division with the Bills and the Patriots. You end up finding your coach. A lot to do about that. We'll get into that here in a few minutes, I'm sure. And then when you look at it, it's really like, well, the struggling quarterback had their offense better than you thought, and the defensive coach had the defense maybe not as good as you thought.
I mean, they were 24th in yards and 22nd in points.
I thought they were like the worst offense in the league, so that's better than I thought. I thought they were terrible. I thought they were losing games because they couldn't do anything.
That's something I would go beating the drum at.
Well, sure, but it's still a little... I mean, I thought they were 24th. I was surprised when you said 24th. I was expecting like 29th. Anyway.
I guess.
I wasn't impressed when I watched their offense. I know that.
I echo those sentiments. The GM is Chris Greer, and I did not write down here. I think he is new, isn't he?
Yeah, because I don't know.
But it's Chris Greer. I'm pretty sure that he is a new GM because I thought that they gutted everything.
I'm sorry. Unfortunately, Dolphins fans, I didn't do my research, so I can't speak until I did about your GM.
I just didn't write down whether he was new or not. But I don't
remember, and I don't know his name.
I don't have the number of years that he was there, so I don't know. Anyways,
what we do know is the coach is new.
Yeah, the coach is new. Mike McDaniel. He's then their ex-coach obviously was Brian Flores, who was 24 and 25 under them.
Right. So let's talk about that real quick before you move on. So I think we can both say that we were shocked when Flores got fired.
Yeah, I thought so.
It seemed like he had done a good job of turning the team around in the post-Adam Gase era. It seemed like he was a good young coach on the rise. That was a surprise move, in my opinion.
I thought so.
Then the rumors quickly came out that he wanted Watson over Tua, and that was maybe a big part of the argument. At the time, I thought, well, that's even more reason that they should have kept him because he's smarter than the GM, apparently. In retrospect, we'll talk about this when we get to Cleveland. Maybe that wasn't such a great plan of Flores's. Well, hard to know. Then he files the lawsuits and everything comes out, and now you go, wow, I don't know. Maybe they knew something about his personality that we don't know on the outside, or, who knows. I'm going to give Flores the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to talk trash about him because I think he's a good coach, but there was a lot of drama around him being fired and the offseason with him. And typically in the NFL, a lot of drama does not spell winning football games. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I know I wouldn't have minded having... I think Flores is a good coach, so I wouldn't have minded having him as a defense coordinator for my team when we were hiring people in a bubble before we hired a head coach. He was a guy that I was even thinking could be a good head coach for us. So anyway... so then moving on to Mike McDonald, you got a guy that comes from the Shanahan coaching tree, has been on the offensive side under... I mean, I think a lot of people think Kyle Shanahan might be the best offensive mind in football right now with what he does, or at least one of them. So if some of that rubbed off on this guy, maybe he gets Tua going. I saw that. He's not a believer in Tua, guys. He's just not. I'm on the fence with Tua. But hey, I think this is why you hired this guy. It makes sense to hire a guy. If you're whoever it is making, whether it's the owner, the GM, the GM, if it's the owner or the GM, whoever that is, and you believe in Tua, and you don't want to get rid of Tua, and you're willing to fire coaches and maybe GMs or front office guys to keep Tua, then you want to hire a guy that's going to be a good offensive mind. That's what you want to do. So, seems like a smart hire from that standpoint. We'll see if he can make Tua look like a good quarterback in the NFL. So far, that hasn't happened.
That has not. All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, and that is, I think there was more than just the argument about Tua between him and Flores, but anyways.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's come out.
A lot of stuff, accusations being made at least.
A lot of stuff has come out. It's hard to know if you're not inside the building what's true and what's not, what's, PR related from both sides. It's hard to know.
But I will say that I would have been tempted to take Deshaun Watson over Tua any day. But I do think you're right. In retrospect, it might not have ended up being that great of an idea. So. Okay, free agent additions. A huge one with Terron Armstead. That's the first one here. From New Orleans, left tackle. He was a guy who I really, really wanted the Colts to grab. I think he's a damn good player. And
I think most people had him as the number one free agent out there, period.
Yeah.
And
so good for them.
Yeah, good for them.
Let's see. We got Cedric Wilson, wide receiver out of Dallas.
A good, solid young wide receiver. Looked good at times in Dallas. Depth at wide receiver. Makes sense.
We got Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback for backup. Hey, I mean, you never know.
So Teddy Bridgewater is maybe has shown that he's not a great starter.
No, as a backup, that is good.
But I do think he's proven to be one of the better backups in the league. Yeah, so that's not a bad backup if you have a shaky starter like Tua.
Yes. Melvin Ingram, linebacker out of Kansas City. I thought that was good too, as well.
Yeah.
Good addition. They actually ended up quite a few people. Raheem Mostert, isn't that how you say? Running back out of San Francisco. Remember?
Yeah. Hey, so Shanahan. I mean, that's you're getting a Shanahan coach. He brings in a guy that was very successful in that system. Scheme fit. That seems smart.
And running back was like a really weakness too, wasn't it? They didn't really have a good running back, did they?
No, in fact, I think they really went
between. They got Sony Michel as the next one that's on here.
Yeah, they really retooled the running back.
Which to me, I'm a big fan of Sony Michel. I actually think he's a really good, versatile running back. So if you pair him with Mostert, I think that's a great addition for both.
Yeah, I think that coaching stat or the Shanahan coaching tree, Shanahan style, even going back to his dad, has been you typically have 2-3 running back by committee. Have guys that can do different things out of the backfield, so you can do different things in your play calling with different guys. So you're going to want at least 2 solid running backs, if not 3. So it makes sense that you would bring those guys in.
And then obviously Tyreek Hill.
Oh, is he? Oh, that was a big storyline. Tyreek Hill.
So they paid.
If Tua can't score touchdowns with Tyreek Hill, he does not need to be in the league.
So I mean, I think that the key takeaway with the additions, anyways, is that they did everything they can to get this guy weapons. I mean, between what they already have and what they added to it.
And the best left tackle in the league.
So as far as I'm concerned, which, to be honest with you, again, like David said, I'm not a Tua believer. I wasn't when he came out of college. I don't believe in the kid. Sorry for Tua fans. I just don't see it. I really do not. But they have given him everything. And you know what? Cool. If he comes out and shows me I'm wrong, I think he has every opportunity to do that now. If he doesn't, and then I'm right, he doesn't have it, you better recognize that and move the heck on after this.
Baker Mayfield next year.
I mean, something, you know what I mean? But you can't. Anyways. Free agent losses. Philip Lindsay came to Indy. I mean, they don't have a whole lot of losses, to be honest with you.
I think it's safe to say that in the addition subtraction part of this, they ended up on top. But I also think this is probably the 3rd year in a row where we said they won free agency, or at least was one of the winners of free agency, and it has yet to translate to the football field.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. But I mean, again, the offensive play, like you said, if you've had these 2 running backs now, you didn't have a very good running game. Tua does not look good, and again, I don't know that that's going to change. But at least if you bring in a good a run game that you can at least lean on a little bit, because I think that they really struggled with that last year. So
and we'll say, hey, maybe Tua will look a lot better in a Shanahan offense where the key the plan is you get the ball to playmakers and you let them make plays.
And they have
right?
playmakers.
They just brought in maybe the biggest playmaker in the league and a couple of the good playmakers. They already had some playmakers.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think it's possible that at the end of the year we don't say, well, he deserved to be picked in the top 5. We might not be saying that. But given this, we might say, hey, he can fit this offense with a good defense and be highly competitive.
Yeah. We'll see.
I think it's possible.
We'll see. All right, draft-wise.
Their picks went to... hold on. Their draft was Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they crushed it. Maybe overpaid.
I think they overpaid a little bit. But anyways, I noticed when I was doing the draft for them, I was like, oh, that's it. They didn't have a pick for the first 2. Round 3, pick 102, inside linebacker Channing Tindall from Georgia.
That's a good player. I like him a lot.
Daimon wanted him for the Bears.
I liked him a lot.
And I agree. I think, especially for their first pick, they are, like their highest pick that they're going to have. I actually do think that they got themselves a little bit of a gem right there. Round 4, pick 125, wide receiver Eric Usanama from Texas Tech.
So I'll weigh in on this because I do college more than you do, and especially wide receivers with the fantasy college football I do. This guy's name has always been on the, from the time he was a freshman even. This guy could blow up. This guy, every year, this guy could blow up. He could be the next Michael Crabtree. And he's always been solid, but never quite reached that full potential. So I think 4th round pick, that's indicative of this, right? He's a guy that could have been, 1st round skills maybe, 1st round talent maybe, but he's 4th round production so far. So if they can unlock that in a way that the Texas Tech coaches couldn't, then you could have a real player there. Otherwise, he should be a solid 4th or 5th wide receiver, which is what you want in the 4th round. So,
and really, they did. They do have a good wide receiving core. They don't necessarily need depth for sure. Right,
but he could be like these Dallas receivers that we talked about, like with Wilson coming in is like one of these guys where it was like they already had good wide receivers, and then their 3rd, 4th, and 5th wide receiver ended up looking better than their first 2 wide receivers. Dallas had that go on. This could end up being a guy like that in a year or 2. He gets some injuries with those top guys. He gets a chance, and he might look like he's a star, or maybe he'll just be a backup for his career. I don't know, but he has a lot of talent for a 4th round pick.
All right, round 7, pick 224, outside linebacker Cameron Good from California. From Cal.
Don't know anything about him.
Don't know anything about him either. Round 7, pick 247, quarterback Skylar Thompson out of Kansas State.
Can you say practice squad?
Yeah, I mean, obviously. So, I don't know.
That's a practice squad pick.
Nah, I'm just joking.
That's a practice squad pick. They drafted him so that when they're playing speedy quarterbacks, they have a guy for their defense to have to run around and chase. That's what that's for.
So, I mean, overall, look, when you're looking at the Dolphins, like we talked about, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Mike Gesicki, Cedric Wilson, they have talent on this team. You know what I mean? They have offensive talent, and he better make use of that.
And over the last 2 years, they've retooled that offensive line. You got a nice mixture of young and established, right?
Yeah.
To go along with all that skill position talent.
Yeah. So, and I like Mike Gesicki a lot. There was a lot of talk about him going to market. I really would have liked to have got him on the Colts, but they obviously re-signed him, and I thought he was a really good tight end. So, Waddle, over 1,000 yards last year.
So just that one very big question mark.
Yeah, I mean,
Can Tua
it
live
really
up to the
is.
hype?
Look, Tua was 2,653 yards, 16 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 128 rushing, and 3 touchdowns. I don't know, man. At this point, he should be putting up more than that. And if this offense is tailored better to him, I think that it's possible that you do see that. You know what I mean?
Well, especially those skill position players. I mean, I think that he should get better. The question is, does he get better enough to go, this is the guy we're going to keep moving forward, or is next offseason going to be, what are the Dolphins doing at quarterback time? Because the rest of it looks pretty good.
Yeah, and like as far as their defense is concerned, I was surprised that they weren't better on defense than they were because these players are good. I look like I love Javon Holland. I'm a Ducks fan, so Javon Holland is a great. Oh, by the way, I just want to stop real quick and mention that in free agency they did get one of my favorite players, McKinley, safety out of the Ducks out of Oregon. So
So they're double dipping a safety from Oregon.
I wanted to throw that out there. Yeah,
Hmm.
I like it.
Pac-12 secondary.
Yeah, we have a good.
That's one way to go.
We have a good secondary.
Um,
But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think that the potential is there. I feel like almost if the Dolphins, it's a shame that they don't have a better quarterback in my opinion because they just look so. They have a good roster, and I think that everything that they've built and they've been doing the last couple of years. I thought going on spending on the free agency and getting the guys that they did bring in, although expensive and they paid a lot for them, I do think that they showed aggressive moves as far as trying to improve themselves.
So I'm just trying to look at I'm just trying to refresh my memory. So, yeah. So they got okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean that looks like a solid to good defense.
I mean Xavier Howard, Raquan Davis. No, Raquan Davis isn't, but I don't know, like Emmanuel Ogba, Eric Rowe, Javon Holland, who played really good last year.
I mean, that's a solid defense. I mean, again, this is kind of the problem though. If Tua is not the guy, we just our last video, Buffalo, we talked about how good they are. We'll be talking here later this week about the Patriots. Like, this looks like it could be a solid team. The coaching hire looks like it could be possibly a smart one. Shanahan's tree's done well over the years. The offense looks explosive. Defense looks solid, if not good. But you got that big question at quarterback. And in a competitive division and in a loaded conference, I don't know. I think it's going to be hard for them to outdo the 9-7 that they did last year, honestly. Like, that's a tall order in the AFC these days.
I totally agree with you. I agree. Like I would not be shocked to see them take a step back and not win as many games as they did last year. And that's not necessarily on them. It's more about what's improved around them. You know what I mean? And I think you're right about that.
So I guess the question is, they have this mixture of older guys that they paid a lot of money to in free agency over the last couple of years. Young guys that they drafted where they had a lot of extra picks after some of the trades they made when they retooled. That's a weird combination to have because you're not really rebuilding, but maybe you're not ready to really be a Super Bowl contender yet either. Especially considering those other teams in the conference. Are they a quarterback away, or is there more than just a quarterback that's going to keep them? Like, is that weird mixture also going to keep them from competing with those top teams in the conference?
I mean, I don't believe that. I think if they brought in a good quarterback that I think that they would compete. I definitely do.
So then I think if that's the conclusion, then you have to say that we are down on what they did in the offseason because they did not address the quarterback better.
Right. Which
is that the bottom line? I mean, the bottom line is you fired a coach and we're not sure if that was a good move or a bad move. At the time I thought it was a bad move. Now I'm not positive. You hired a coach, seems on paper to be a good move, but yet to be determined. He hasn't been a head coach somewhere before. The offense looks good on paper. The defense looks okay on paper.
But I mean, I think they did improve.
Yeah.
I mean, adding Tyreek Hill, adding those kind of players. I mean, that's Terrence Armstead. I mean, that's
right.
That's improving your team.
I guess this is my question. Like, okay, so yes, look, like I said, they are one of the teams that won the offseason they won the press conference for free agency. They made the big trade that had everybody talking. But you paid a ton of money to Tyreek Hill, and you gave up a bunch of draft picks. You paid a ton of money to Armstead, and you don't look like you're ready to win in the next couple of years, which is when those players need to win.
Yeah.
And because you paid so much money to those guys, you're not going to be able to go out and get a $40 million quarterback probably. So you're going to either have to hope that Tua is the guy, find a bargain quarterback that turns out to be better than people think, or somehow hit it in the draft, a home run that's ready to come in and win right away. when you don't even have draft picks because you gave them all to Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, I agreed, and I feel like it's going to be a hot spot for whoever is the best free agent quarterback coming out of the market. You know what I mean? Next,
If
next
they can
year,
afford them, if they can figure out a way to pay them,
sure, sure.
that would be the one thing that we don't know.
And maybe Tua will just come out and it'll click. You know what I mean? Maybe.
I think that's the thing, right? Like the whole thing hinges on. This is one of those. It's almost incomplete, right? Because it feels like if Tua doesn't click, this was not a good. This was a bad offseason, in my opinion. If Tua clicks, this was a great offseason, and those guys look fantastic. So, I think we have to give them an incomplete, from my perspective.
Yeah, I mean,
It all rides on Tua. You're very skeptical of that.
yeah.
I'm somewhat skeptical of that. But it all rides on Tua, whether they were smart about what they did or not. Because if Tua turns out to be the guy, they were very smart about what they did. They set Tua up to succeed. If Tua ends up not being the guy,
You think they wasted
good
some
luck.
money?
Well, I think I think that good luck finding the guy when you're paid that. I mean, a wide receiver and a left tackle are important, but if you don't have a quarterback, I don't know. It's hard to get a quarterback when you're paying those guys that kind of money.
Yeah.
So that would be my only point. And when we're comparing, like, the last video we did with the Bills, where they're set up to, it'd be harder to think that the Dolphins are going to win this division when the Bills look so good. So, the Bills did less splash, but maybe did what they needed to do as an organization even better, even though it was less than what the Dolphins did, just because the Dolphins didn't address what you need to win, which is the quarterback, right? And they did, I don't think they set themselves up in a way. The moves they made, if Tua's the guy,
Win now.
if Tua's the guy, bringing those guys in is a brilliant move. But if he's not the guy, then bringing those guys in made it harder for you to find the guy later. And this is, as a Bears fan, I'm very familiar with this formula. It's not been good for the last 20 years. Just saying.
They do got some good players, though.
We've talked about it. We like their team. We like their players. Question mark on their front office. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, thank you for giving us a watch, and if you like what you heard, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We'll be pumping out some more of these, so we look forward to seeing you.
Go ahead and hit them comments, and again, please subscribe, like, help our channel grow. We're having fun. We want you to acknowledge the fun that we're having. Hopefully, we're being fun for you to watch. Thank you.